Morning everybody, welcome back. It's Wednesday, October 16th, and today is our 18-year anniversary of being in business. So I wanted to jump on here and just make a quick little video and give a little history on the shop that most people probably don't know. Never really done this before. So I'm going to just give a little rundown. Hopefully it's of interest to somebody. Try not to ramble too much. Throughout the video here, I'm going to try and drop some different pictures in. The early days, there wasn't lots of pictures. 18 years ago, man, we didn't have smartphones. I don't know, I might have had like a Razor flip phone or Sidekick or something. You know, they had some really horrible cameras on them, and I don't know. So anyway, we don't have tons and tons of pictures from the early days, which is unfortunate. I wish we did. Might actually have some pictures somewhere. So anyway, I'm going to try and dig some of that stuff up, but quick little rundown. I graduated from college in 2003. Prior to going to college, there was a motorcycle shop in Boca where I lived that went up for sale, and I did not want to go to college. I wanted to buy that motorcycle shop. Of course, I was, 18 years old. Didn't have any money. I needed my dad's help, and he wanted me to go to college, so that help was out. And anyway, fast forward a bunch of years, I finished college. I got a job with the city as a police officer. Quickly realized that was not for me. Did do that for 3 years, and I got out at the right time. It was just not for me. So anyway, 2006, October 16th, we purchased what was then known as Spider Racing. So a small independent motorcycle shop in Wellington, run by one guy who, funny enough, was a former sheriff's deputy. He was a motorcycle parts changer, from what I can tell. He didn't do anything like what we do, no fabrication. He did tire changes, oil changes, and whatever. So, but it was an established shop. We were able to walk in on the first day, and there was work there to do, and it probably helped us along the way. Of course, hindsight's 20/20, and knowing what I know now, I'd probably have just opened my own shop, but I still think there was a little bit of value in having an existing shop with an existing phone number and things of that nature. So, was it money well spent? Probably not, but it got me where I wanted to be. It got me into business, and the first couple of years were pretty good. 2006, the economy was cranking pretty well. 2007, still okay. And then if you're my age or a little older, the housing crumble started to kind of take form in 2008 and 2009. Both those years were really terrible. People were losing their houses like crazy. The housing market crumbled in a way that no one has really ever seen. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the movie The Big Short. It kind of explains a lot. The mortgage lending establishment and all, it was a mess. So, of course, that trickles down to all forms of business, especially our business, which is a leisure type business, extra money. If you're losing your house, you don't give a crap about motorcycles, probably. So, we were in Wellington in the existing shop 2006, 7, 8, and almost all of 2009. The rent there was really expensive. The location sucked really to begin with. It was in an industrial park, no road visibility, and it was always hard to get people to find us. Even like people would drop their bike off and then call back when they were coming to pick it up. They couldn't find us again. So I knew kind of early on I needed to get the hell out of there, but moving is always a huge expense. And anyway, so fast forward around to 2009, we were really struggling bad. There just was no work. or very minimal work. So we made the decision to move. We knew we needed to get out of where we were. The rent was just way expensive. So I started looking around. I lived in Lake Worth, which is where our shop is now, but not in this building. So we found this little tiny building. It was a piece of shit. Every time it rained, the building would fill up with water, like the whole floor. It was a disaster, but it was cheap. It saved us about $1,200 a month. And I always knew if we could survive the economic downturn that lots of shops would be gone. Not that we wanted that, but you know, in the early 2000s with the chopper boom, shops popped up all over the place, and these were money guys, you know, looking, you know, to invest in the next big fad. And when that fad kind of dries up, they'll move on to the next fad. They're not, you know, motorcycle enthusiasts and lifelong motorcycle people like I am. So I knew they wouldn't be around, and if we could make it through to the other side, there would be business. So we rode it out in that building for really less than 2 years before we moved into our current building. The guy who owns this building had purchased it. He was our neighbor at the small building, which is literally 2 blocks south of us. And so we decided to move into this building. Funny enough, the rent here was $300 more a month than it had been down the street. We still hadn't seen the real turnaround yet, so things were looking up, but you know, still weren't great. And I was actually, I contemplated for about a week whether or not I wanted to sign up for $300 more in rent. So I mean, it's kind of funny now to think about that. I was so worried about $300 a month. But man, it was rough back then. I mean, it was really brutal. I mean, I did everything I could to survive. I sold my nice truck and bought a $2,000 truck. I mean, I cut every corner. Luckily then I was single. I had a small house that I had bought at the absolute bottom of the turn for next to nothing. Had a buddy living with me, so my home expenses were super minimal. And I was able to weather the storm and ride it out, but man, it got ugly for a while there. So so that brings us we were 2010 and 11. So I think like it was actually like January 2012. I remember it was January because I had gone home to visit my mom for Christmas, and then I came back and we moved into the building we're in now, which is a 4,000 square foot freestanding building. We got our own parking lot. It was quite the upgrade from the supposed 2,000 square foot building, which I really don't think it was. I never measured it, but the building was super long. It's like 100 feet deep almost, but like, I don't know, they said it was 20 feet wide, but I swear I don't even know if it was 20 feet wide. So it was a very weird building to lay out. It sucked in every way. So we were out of there and into here. Still at this time we were known as Spider Racing. You know, I had spent some money on that name. I was trying to, you know, squeak the value out of that. And at some point in time there, I don't know, maybe 2015, 16, I really can't remember, we decided to finally make the change over to Gattis Garage. We were starting to take on some hot rod builds a little bit here and there at that point, and I just, you know, wanted to build my own brand. I wanted it to, you know, be part of me, and Spider Racing never meant anything to me, being that it wasn't our deal, and we weren't really doing any kind of racing, so it didn't make any sense. So anyway, by that time, business was looking up. You know, like I said, we were starting to take a few hot rod projects here and there. And then that really started to pick up about 6 years ago. We took on, another couple hot rod projects. The bike business was cranking. We were doing really good with the bikes, you know, turning out all kinds of custom stuff. Our service work and repair business was booming, and things were good. So about, I guess, 4 years ago, as these hot rod builds were starting to take shape, we had trouble locating anybody who was willing to do the paint and body work. So at that time, Tony came on with us full time to handle all the paint and body work stuff on the hot rod builds. Also worked out good because he was able to do all of our bike stuff. He had been doing some of our bike stuff here and there, like in his off time. He worked at a regular collision shop prior to here, so he would do our bike work, little side jobs and stuff, or he'd come in and paint them here for us or whatever. But he came on full time. I think it's over 4 years ago now. All this stuff starts to scramble together, and I don't know. I'm very bad with keeping up with time and how it passes. So anyway, that came on, or Tony came on, and it was him and I for a while. And then we had a couple of different people in and out. It's a hard job to fill as far, we do a wide variety of stuff. And almost 2 years ago, Matt came on, and Matt fit in pretty well here. He's got a wide skill set, worked on all kinds of stuff over the years, from heavy equipment to motorhomes and whatever else. So he kind of fit in good with our weird business model where we work on such a variety of stuff. And so we're, now we got a team of 3, and then not too long after that, Nicole came in to start helping with the office and try and get our eBay business rolling, which I've done on and off over the last 18 years, and it's always been a real good source of revenue. It's a lot of work, and it's always been hard to get somebody that can handle it. So so that's kind of leads us to where we are today. I don't know what to say about 18 years. It's kind of crazy. Wasn't sure how much I was going to talk about this, but obviously in the early days, I could have never done this without my dad. He was here with me as much as he could be. Later on, he was sort of semi-retired, and he was here more working. It's been almost 9 years that he died, so he kind of made it halfway with us to this point. And man, there's no way I would have survived. So the very first day, so we bought the shop, we did all the closing paperwork and stuff on October 16th. That was a Monday. Shop's always been closed on Monday, so we brought a load of stuff. I had lots of equipment and stuff. I had been doing all kinds of work in his garage, so we brought all our stuff, toolboxes and whatever, a couple trailer loads up to the old shop in Wellington. And he had taken a week off work, so he spent the first week with me. The prior owner, as part of the sale, stayed on with me for 2 weeks. And actually, I think maybe my dad came for the first 2 weeks too, took 2 weeks off. Anyway, a couple of weeks later, the very first day, I was there by myself. Now, mind you, I'd been working like crazy, million hours. I didn't know what I was doing. So I get to work about 6 o'clock in the morning. I go to roll a bike up on the lift. I was so half asleep, I left the kickstand down. Anyway, long story short, I dropped this bike. And man, I didn't know. It's like all these... It was just a bad morning, we'll say that, and I thought, man, what am I doing? I don't know. I'd never worked in a bike shop. I'd always worked on bikes. And anyway, I called my dad, and he came right up. And, it was not the end of the world. Cost me a little money. Taught me a lesson. And we moved on. But, man, there's just no way I would have done this without him. I couldn't have. And when he was sick, I didn't know how I would continue on. But I've done it. A year after he died, Josephine was born, so life changed a lot. I didn't have a choice anymore but to make shit work. And so I did. And I've had tons of help along the way. In the early days, when we first moved to that little shithole of a shop, I had a couple customers that would bring me work just because they knew I needed something to do. You know, these people, they all know who they are. Everybody who's helped me out along the way knows who they are. I'm not going to sit here and list everybody off, but it's been a long, crazy journey, and I don't know if I'll make another 18 or not. Whew, man. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this little cruise down memory lane. I doubt anybody wants to listen to me talk this long anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. We'll be back Saturday with our regular video. Hopefully, I don't know, try and work on the top fuel bike a little bit. Or, no, what am I talking about? The top fuel bike is getting pushed to the side for a little bit. We got the 24-hour build coming up in like less than 2 weeks. So we're going to be like full-on prep for the 24-hour build. I don't know what I was thinking about when I decided to do this. But anyway, that's what's going to be going on the next couple of weekends. Is the prep for that. So appreciate you guys following along. Hope you enjoyed seeing some of these pictures. Like I said, I'm going to try and, at this point, you've seen all the pictures, whatever I've been able to dig up. And anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed learning a little bit about the history of Gattis Garage and how I got here from the last 18 years. So as always, appreciate you guys taking your time to listen to me, and I hope to see you next time at Gattis Garage.